Most inboxes are filled with colorful, well-designed emails, and that's exactly why plain text messages work so well. Now, we analyzed 4,000 email campaigns that we've sent across 150 brands that we work with, and plain text messages made more revenue per recipient than designed emails almost every single time. So in this video, I'm gonna explain what is it that makes plain text emails convert so well, and show you exactly how to make a plain text message that converts better than anything else you've sent in the past. So to understand why is it that plain text emails work so well, the number one insight that we got from looking at our campaigns is that most plain text messages are announcing something. It's announcing some kind of news, whether it's a sale, a product launch, a price increase, an update. And across all emails, regardless of if an email is plain text or designed, news always converts better than your evergreen content. Now, what do I mean by evergreen campaigns? These are your content emails or your nurture emails. You could also call them filler emails. They're just what you send when you don't have actual news to send to your audience. So for example, it's like Happy New Year, here's a personal message from the founder, or why hydration matters in summer, or lifestyle emails that you might send. Now these evergreen emails are very important to have because we don't always have stuff going on that we can tell our customers about. But it's one of the biggest reasons why plain text emails make more money, because news always performs evergreen emails. And most plain text emails are some kind of news email. There's some kind of update, some kind of product launch, etc. So let's say we strip out all of our news emails and we only look at the evergreen campaigns. Do plain text emails still convert better in this case? And the answer is yeah, they still do. By not as much of a margin, but they still do outperform design. So why is that? That leads to my second reason, it just delivers better. We see this in the data when we send to the same segments a designed email versus a plain text. Plain text generally has a higher open rate, and in general, it has a higher chance to land in the primary tab. Now, primary tab, more people see it. Now, if more people open it, there's just more people reading it, and they're more likely to convert. And the third reason why plain text emails perform better is the personal brand effect. It's sending it from a founder name, it's sending it from a real person, and that drives so much better connection with the customer than sending from a brand name. It's also a pattern interrupt to all of the other polished designed emails that land in your inbox. When you open a plain text email, you actually read it because there's not much else you can do. You can't really skim it. You have to read the words. There's one thing to do because it's much harder to skim through a paragraph and understand what's going on. And that leads me to my fourth reason. It drives a much higher intent click than designed emails. When you send a designed message, you give people options. You have a bunch of links on the site, you have a nav bar, you have links to your socials, you have the products which you're pushing in the email, maybe a product grid with multiple options. This leads your customer to all sorts of places. Whereas with a plain text, again, you can't skim through. You just have to read the words and there's one, maybe two call to actions. And those call to actions have one goal. Whoever clicks that call to action is way more likely to convert. But those people are way more likely to buy than the people that click the designed emails. And our data generally shows this. Plain text emails have a lower click-through rate than our designed emails. However, the revenue per recipient is significantly higher. Quick pause before we continue. If you want help with this, we've actually helped over 150 businesses around the world with their email marketing, and they've made over $50 million in combined revenue. So you can click the link in the description to book in a free audit with me, where I'll run through everything in your Klaviyo account, tell you what you're doing well, what you're doing poorly, and give you a roadmap on how we can potentially help you do better if there is a fit for us to add value to you. If not, I'll be completely transparent that we can't help, but it's free. So if you want help, click the link in the description and we'll chat soon. Back to the video now. Now that we know why they work, how do you make one that actually converts very well? And it's actually very simple now that we understand why plain text even convert. So number one, try to give a real honest reason for people to buy. Don't send a filler plain text where you're not adding any kind of value or delivering any kind of news. Use your plain text as a weapon for when you have something going on that you must tell your customers about, but you don't have time to build a campaign. For example, you run a flash sale, write up a plain text and send it to your list. New product just arrived way earlier than you expected, make a plain text email, send it to your list immediately. Now obviously you can't make these events happen so that you can send plain text messages, but when they do happen, make sure you leverage plain text because this is what captures the essence of what makes a plain text message work. the authenticity. Now, to get a little bit more technical, for rule number 2, make your emails short. Try to keep it under 100 words, but if you have a lot to say, definitely keep it under 250 words tops. The reason for this is people generally just don't have the attention spans to read longer emails, and unlike designed emails, plain texts are not skippable. You kind of have to read through every word to get the essence of what it's trying to say. Rule number 3, send it from a person. Now, if you're a founder-led brand, this is easy, just send it from the founder. But if you're not, what might be helpful is pick someone on the team that is as close to your target audience as possible. So if you have a social media manager, an e-commerce manager, use their name as the name that the email comes from. In some cases, you can actually test different people for your brand and see what resonates best with your audience. For example, if the founder's name is Henry, but the audience is primarily female, you can test Henry and then you can test a female staff member's name and see which one actually converts best and use that going forward. Now, rule number 4, for links, make them as clear as possible. When you have a hyperlink, bold it out and add arrows before and after pointing to the word. You need to do this so you make it as hard as possible for people to click the link, because a lot of people in most emails, if they see a link, they'll just tap it without even reading the message. And that's the effect that we're trying to create in our plain text messages as well. And rule number 5, use plain text for about 20 to 30% of your emails. This includes your campaign sends and your flows. So in your campaigns, let's say you send 12 campaigns a month, you want to be sending anywhere from 2 to 4 plain text messages. Likewise, in your flows, if you have a welcome series that's 4 emails long, have one of those emails be a plain text message. Also, for your post-purchase, test one plain text message in your post-purchase sequence and test it out in all of your other pre-purchase flows as well. So let's go into Klaviyo now, where I'll show you how to set up a plain text message step by step. All right, so we're in Klaviyo. The way you make a campaign is you go to campaigns, and then you, when this loads, click create campaign, and then just name this PT test, and then click continue. And then you select your audience. I'm gonna pick my newsletter and then just go to next. And then you can set your subject line and preview text over here. So say sale launch in 24 hours. And then we can just go switch to text only editor over here after clicking the 3 dots. And then we show no preview text, and you can type in the stuff over here. So in terms of settings, Arial's the default. We can make this 16 just to make it a little bit more readable in case we have a slightly older audience. And it's straightforward. We just write the copy over here. Obviously you can use AI for this, but the way I encourage you to use AI is to use it to outsource the actual writing of the content, but the idea generation and what you're going to say and the points you're going to make, I encourage you to come up with that yourself. So let's say I want to write a plain text message announcing a sale, flash sale in 24 hours. Here's how I'd do it. I'd go into Gemini, for example, and I'd say in Whisperflow, this is my automatic transcriber. I'd open it up and I'd say, hey, I'm in the process of running a flash sale for my e-commerce brand in 24 hours. This is something that we're doing to thank our customers because we've had overwhelming support from them on organic socials, and we want to run this as a treat for them because we're not the type of brand that discounts very often. Our next sale is probably going to be in Black Friday if we do decide to run a Black Friday sale. So we just want to give a short flash sale now for people to take advantage of and get our products right now. Write a plain text message to explain this to our customers. And then Whisperflow transcribes that. And then we just sharpen up the prompt. Say, write a plain text message to and send as an email to our customers. And then, maybe I'll put that to the top. And then press enter. And again, the more context you can give here, the better. If you can give information on your brand, that'll help this come out. Even better, if you can give examples of your brand voice, that'll help this come out in a way that's more authentic to your audience. But again, like I said, plain text perform best when you are delivering some kind of news. So make sure you don't use AI to come up with the news. Make sure it's only for the writing process. So let's say this is what we send, bang, this is what we're gonna do. And we're just going to paste this in, paste and keep formatting. Oh, yeah, we'll keep formatting. We'll make this 16, make it all 16. And it's like, hi, Customer name, if you've been following us on socials lately. What? 20% off everything, let's say. Take off the M dashes that AI loves to spit out. Brent, let's say that's the name of the founder. And there we go. If I preview this, I could just send it to myself. And this is the email that I've received. Say, hi Milan, I hope if you've been following us, yep, looks fine. And obviously, oh, this is the one thing I forgot. Here's the, click this link tomorrow at midday. We want to add a CTA. So how do you add a CTA? You make it as obvious as possible with some arrow emojis, and then you go Command K and you put in the link. So let's say Nike. Let's copy the Nike link in here, and there we go. And then we make this big. And that's how you do a CTA. And that's it. And this is what the call to action looks like. It's very obvious, hard to miss. So that's how you make a plain text email that converts for your business. If you found that helpful, leave a like on this video and subscribe. I post very frequently. Otherwise, if you run an e-commerce brand and you want a completely done for you email audit of your Klaviyo account, you can click the link in the description to book in a call directly with me and get that audit for you. Either way, we'll chat soon.